What's up? It's Jason Hamburg. Just kind of woke up this morning feeling motivated. The weather sucks right now, but go for a little ride along and talk about what I'm thinking throughout the course of the ride. I don't have a ton of battery on my GoPro, so it's gonna have to be quick. I'm not gonna warm up or anything. We're just gonna be straight into it. So this is a freshly down tree. You can see it's angled, and so for me the big thing here is I'm not going to try to be heroic or anything. When I'm getting up and over these things, what I like to do is I like to put my front wheel up. I come up nice and controlled. My rear wheel is going to be in a good place. Okay, and now the most important thing that I like to think about on something like this is I need to get up to my skid plate, and I also want to use my foot peg on the high side to kind of hook into the tree and can help prevent that slide away, that kind of board slide action that happens. So let's give it a go here. We're up, we're controlled. You gotta be aggressive here. You gotta stand up on the peg when you go. There it is. You don't start on a tree like that when you're first learning. You gotta work up to it. Switchback zone here right behind my house. Kind of just using this as a bit of a warm-up. That's another thing. I really never understood the value of warming up, and so I mean, if I'm taking it seriously, I'll try to skip rope. It's a good one. Go for a jog, do something like that. Okay, getting back over this the other way, that's tough. But yeah, warm-ups are great. Even if you just go, try to ride and almost blow yourself up. Give yourself arm pumps. And then take a break for 5-10 minutes. Allow the body to recover and go from there. So, coming back through, I'm going to try to carry some momentum because the big thing here is we're actually a lot lower. Like this side is lower than that side, so we're going to use a different technique. We're going to try to come in, keep some momentum. A bit of heroics involved in this one, unfortunately. Tough when you're just starting out and it's wet, so we're going to go for it. I recognized it wasn't going to work and I bailed like a little scaredy cat. Okay, let's give it one more try. Back myself up here, keeping it in gear, pulling my clutch in and out to kind of modulate that reverse. Okay, so I just didn't commit on that one quite enough to get up and over, so we're going to try it again. Throw the fan on. Whoa! I didn't fully commit. I jumped halfway through going over that thing, but we're clear. One thing I've talked about in the past is ride when it's wet. Ride when the conditions aren't as good, because I know the idea of, you know, kind of being a fair weather rider is nice, but you improve so much more when you ride in adverse conditions. It's hard to get that motivation, but you know, it makes everything more fun, whether it's wet or dry. Okay, so decent hill climb here. With it being so wet, lots of exposed roots. I have to recognize I'm not gonna have much luck generating speed if I lose it. So it's all about momentum down low. Most hill climbs I'm in second gear, and that's what I'm gonna do here. bike's not really warm yet. Good job on me. So exactly what I said we're going to struggle with is what we're going to try here. So this is the first gear, kind of holding myself in place with my clutch. I'm just going to get up above that tree. Gotta be more aggressive here. So we'll back ourselves down onto the deck again, keeping the bike in gear, using my clutch as my brake. Aggressive. Make sure that rear wheel's in a good spot with its traction. Alright, well the goggles were able to stay on for a grand total of 3 minutes, which is great. Let's try something else. Again, biking gear, backing it up. Try to minimize how much I'm using or lifting the bike. You really want to try to, you know, not lift it much if you can. I think the thing I'm struggling on here is just wet and slippery, kind of hard clay. And then some of these vertical roots, when the tire gets on those, it ain't gonna grab. So I've kind of offset myself. If you try to get going on an uphill and you're facing uphill, it's a lot steeper. Whereas if I come over here and I can kind of generate some speed on the, essentially on flat, and then get going, it's a little more technical because we've got to now make this corner, but might give me a chance to get some speed because I really just need to get up. There's 2 roots there. If I can get up above that first one, kind of hook that front end above that tree, I think that'll be the move. And then we can worry about what's above it after that. We're just trying to break this hill up into small, manageable chunks. Oh, we're close. So when I'm pushing, listen to my bike. You'll notice I'm not holding it wide open. I mean, that sometimes happens. You get frustrated. But it's all about really being controlled, allowing that rear wheel to kind of grab a hold of whatever it's on. In retrospect, I should have tried this hill again with a warm bike, but lots of lessons to learn. So I'm gonna try to get my rear wheel up past this set of roots, up on top there. If I can't get to there, I'll try to get my rear wheel to where my front wheel is, and then static zap up and over. Rear wheel nice and high, down off to the side, pivot myself, give it an accidental rev. Okay, now this is tricky because it's quite side hilled. There's a root right there, so I really need to think about either getting up above that root right there with my rear wheel, or knowing my rear wheel is going to stay below, drive straight into that face and then kind of bounce up and out. I think I'm going to try to stay high. I think the big thing here is just to commit. If I commit, something will happen. Nothing ever good happens if you don't commit. So yeah, my rear wheel was below that root, kind of slid, plunked into that. But again, I committed. Same thing here. Gotta commit to get nice and high. Oh. Just stop, let's think about it. Bike still in gear. Little pulses of the clutch. Just to reverse myself. Okay. So that didn't work. When you're backing up to reset, one thing to always be mindful of with everything with Hardenduro, where's my rear wheel? And right here you can see I stopped before it drops back over this edge, because if I lose that rear end, I'm a whole extra step back, you know? So the crux here is kind of, as I go through those goalposts, there's a bunch of roots. We really need to generate a lot of speed down low and get that rear wheel up and above. Take a proper run at it. Oh, and then we're just gonna spin on a root down at the bottom. So, you see the route I spun on? I'm actually going to stop before it this time. Which is tough, because now I'm facing uphill, but I don't know. It's kind of the option I got. Unless, there we go. So just have a look here. I was starting with my rear wheel back there, but then I had these two roots where I was spinning. So now, kick that back end out just a touch, and we're hopefully gonna try to get a good solid drive. Gotta stay feet on the pegs, look ahead, be aggressive. Oh, it's slippery. Very slippery. Well, as I get better, I guess. Wondering, this might be weird. We'll try second gear. Second gear start. Full moto start. Worth trying, that's why we practice. You kind of know what options you have in the tool bag. It's super slippery, so I'm going to keep that weight, I think, back a little bit to try to keep weight on the rear tire. In second gear. No. There's just so many roots and slippery things. Oh yeah, look at that. That's gonna get a guy. Okay, so I know that that's there now. I didn't know that was there. So in a situation like this, maybe what I'll think about doing is some good speed up, get that rear wheel over, and then the distance basically between that top set of roots and this really nasty guy, another big burst of power. Kind of two pulses. Might be getting ahead of myself here. I don't know if I actually have those kind of skills, but we'll see. Try second again. I don't know how I feel about it, if I'm being honest. Alright, we're above. Hold on to it here. Big push. Okay, we're up. Let that bike lug. Definitely not super clean, but it works. Okay. I'm dropping in here. Now, these downhills, this one's not bad because anytime you're going downhill and it's on an angle away, you want to kind of keep your high side foot up above. In a circumstance like this, it's not so scary because I can keep my foot on my rear brake. But in general, say this was going the other way, where my rear brake foot is now off the bike, keep that bike in gear, but shut off. And now you have your clutch, again, as your brake, okay? or just stay standing. So bomb start there, set ourselves up. There we go. First gear again, lug ourselves up and out of this. Feet on the base, yeah, there it is. That's better. Okay, up and down. Nice and controlled. Front brake too. Really get comfortable using your front brake. So, this is kind of a fun section. We turn left, and if you can get it in a straight shot, you can pull all the way up to where we need to turn. If you can't get it smooth, there's kind of switchbacks in there. Those switchbacks started when I was first kind of bushwhacking and blaze this trail in. We're gonna try to carry our momentum, get ourselves straight to the top. Not right to the top, but that'll work. Keeping that weight on the rear tire. Oh, we're gonna make the hill less steep by turning off to the side. Alright. Good, not great. So, need to be conscious here. My rear wheel isn't really in a pocket. So if you look, I mean, I want my rear wheel more like here, but in order to make that all work, I had to point out this way. The rear wheel came out over here. So what I need to be conscious of, there's a bit of traction here. There's not going to be much traction. There's no deck here. This is all side slope. So I'm going to give it just one aggressive kind of blip, get the rear wheel up onto this deck, and then I should be clear sailing. I'm going to keep weight on that rear wheel. You know, you want there to be something there. So we've got a bit of a deck. Kind of thrust those hips forward as you make that move. All right, another downhill here. Get good at going downhill. Be able to do it comfortably, no matter how steep, no matter how technical. Understand how your front brake works. And just like practice going down hills nice and controlled, because it makes everything so much more enjoyable when you're not, you know, bulldogging your bike down a hill continuously. Okay, so next up, another big climb. The way this climb works, again, the fast route is all the way straight up the left, but off to the right there's plenty of switchbacks that we can go. When it's dry, I can pretty confidently get it on the left every time. We'll see how it goes today. It's definitely more slippy than I thought it would be today, even with the rain here. So second gear again, going to try to generate lots of momentum at the base. Okay, so that's the fast line to the left. We're going to try to get ourselves over on the right. Listen to that bike kind of lug, you know, I'm pushing it. It's not like I'm not giving it energy that I, you know, in an ideal circumstance I wouldn't be pushing, but in reality, sometimes it's just what you need to do. But getting good at pushing is great. Okay, so you can see the switchbacks up here. It's a little tricky. It's hard to see with the leaves, but there's a bit of a deck in there. So I'm really gonna overshoot with my front end, get that rear wheel in the deck, then stand off to the side pivot, and I'm gonna come up here. Okay, all about knowing where that rear wheel is. There it is, just like that. That rear wheel up in the hole, in the pocket. Where it's safe, it's there. When I say safe, I just mean, you can see I have a decent amount of room off to the low side here. It's firm. I don't have to worry about my ass end sliding out, right? It's gonna generate traction. So I have two lines here. One is to go straight up over that little guy, and I'm up above. It's gonna be a little challenging today. Again, with the wet. My other option is I pivot, go through here, pivot again, up onto the deck. Just for fun, we're gonna try and go for that one. The biggest thing when you're dealing with a situation like this, again, is that rear wheel. All I care about is my rear wheel needs to get above that. If it doesn't, it's a waste. Reset, come back, try again, okay? So first gear again. Foot on the peg, kind of standing, recognizing to keep my weight back so I generate. Good. There it is, see? Lost it. Didn't get the rear wheel above. We'll try again. I think I can do it. I wasn't very clean through that corner. So, where's that rear wheel? Right around there is kind of the furthest back I can go. Better balance here, I think. There it is. We're up and above. Not super pretty. Another little zap to get up over this set of roots. There it is. Okay. Again, we're on another deck. We're safe again. We're breaking this hill down. Up and over these roots. And we're going to try to keep our momentum the whole way to the top. Feet on the pegs. Plugging. Okay, feet are off the pegs, but I'm way back. Generating traction off the back end. As I sit. Plug the bike. Practice this technique because it does help. Okay. Another downhill here. It's important when you're crossing logs in the wet, going down in general. You want to try to keep that front wheel from being locked up as it crosses. Here, kind of control your speed. This is the downhill log. Control your speed in, and then off the brakes, let it roll. Because if you're on the brakes, when you hit that log, the front end's gonna slide out, right? Kind of a fun one. Bit of a set of roots to a direct 90, so I'm gonna kind of foot plant around this. There it is. And slick. As soon as I stand mid on the peg, get some traction going. Okay. Lots of crappy, wet log. Yeah, I knew that was gonna happen. Oh, this section is horrendous. It's okay dry, you can just kind of blast right through it, but what I'm gonna do, rear wheel's down on this lower deck, just gonna try to scoop up, stay on this side of that tree, all the way nice and high, pivot over, and just kind of ease the bike up and over that log and get into the deck on the far side below those fir trees. If I were to try to go for it here, I don't think I'm going to generate the speed, especially with my rear wheel being down there. The angle of attack's just not going to work. Okay, so here we go. Hopefully this makes sense. Nice and high. I'm going to pivot over. Okay, now get a little bit of gap between my rear wheel and the obstacle. Honestly, that's all it needs. Okay, good. Good momentum here. Jump that double. I'll check you downhill. Again, feet on the pegs as much as I can. Okay, here's a little tip. So my angle of attack on this downhill log, I want my bike this way. Right now it's like this. Okay, so what you can do, that front brake, hard on the front brake, left foot is going to be out. I'm going to compress the front end, and with my right leg pull my rear end over. Okay, see that? Now my bike's angle of attack has moved. Now I'll fire it back up, ease it over, control that rear brake. There it is. All right, there we go. If I tried to tackle that with the bike being at such an angle, there's a higher chance it's gonna slide out on me. Okay, so here's a pretty common obstacle you'll find. Basically you have a down tree, pretty significant angle, but there's another down tree kind of below it. You see, the way I like to envision this is we have a bit of a V, right? And the V that's generated by this lower tree, where it comes into the side hill, if I stay committed, that's kind of my sweet spot for my front tire. I want to come off of that, and that V is going to hold everything side to side. Now, it's not to say that if I don't commit, my front end or my back end could still slide down that guy very easily, right? So I still have to come in with some momentum, but look for those V's, because if you find them, they're gonna make life a little bit easier, give you a little more confidence in where your front end's gonna go. Carry that momentum, anticipate that rear end kicking out. Okay, big uphill here. Ooh, really slippery around that corner. That's gonna be tough today. Again, backing up. Okay, here we go. You gotta keep that momentum. This may be hard to tell. This is pretty significant uphill. Big hanging log. Oh man, there's no traction there. We're just slipping and sliding. So I'll come down a little lower. Oh, lost my rear end there. Yeah, it's an easy mistake to make. You gotta be conscious at all times where that rear wheel is, because now I've made it even worse on myself. There's a big hole there. Yeah, it's gonna be tough today. We're gonna stay up above that root. Try to keep as much momentum through here as we can. Oh, front end did not rise. I had good momentum. I don't know if I rear end spun or what happened there. Okay. One thing about this kind of practice, okay, where you're kind of riding, you know, some of this stuff that I've cut, it's designed to be challenging, it's designed to be hard. it's kind of important to recognize where you're at in your skill set, where you're trying to get to, and then find that balance point. You know, I could go out and ride stuff that's entirely impossible for me to ride. You know, it's like Manny and Billy are the only guys who are allowed to do it in the world, or are capable of doing it. I could do that, but it's going to be a lot of frustration, and I think it's going to stunt my ability to kind of know what I can ride. So just trying to find those sweet spots, be conscious of your skill set, but always don't get comfy. You know, in this circumstance, yeah, I can do this every single time in the dry conditions. I know that I can, if I do everything right, execute this today. But this is a nice kind of sweet spot of difficulty versus being, you know, kind of staying in reality, if you will. Okay, good momentum. Up and over this bad boy. All right, not great. Kind of got past that danger zone. We got up high enough on that. Okay, here's a kind of interesting one. Again, if we break this down, the trail actually goes that way. Again, it's hard to see because there's so many leaves. We go between these two trees here. I want that rear wheel to be in this pocket so it's got a good straight shot. If it doesn't get to that pocket and it falls down there, I'm in a bummerville. Okay, so I could just drive straight up and land myself there. But what ends up happening if I do that is that far tree interrupts my ability to swing the front end over to tee it up, right? I can actually, and in the past, I would go up there and I would get the bike really vertical to get that pivot and back down. What I'm gonna try today, and what I have been trying, is kind of a combo where I come in, another one of those kind of like foot plant 90-degree pops, and I just all make it happen in one motion. It's super efficient when it works, super inefficient when it doesn't. So let's see how this. Rear wheel's good. There it is. Well, look at the throttle, position that rear wheel. Now we got a static zap up and out. Woo. Rear wheel slid on that root there. Saved myself. Long legs do help. Rear wheel up and above. Okay. Some of you might have seen this on my Instagram recently. The old trail tucked to the left, down, and then we kind of tried to scoop up and around and got a straight shot at this wall. This line here that I've been working on, we climb up and out of here, and then it's an aggressive 90-degree turn up over this super rooty wall. It's gonna be tough today, but we're gonna try it. Lots of momentum, down low coming into the technical section. No, man, that was not it. Definitely sketchy. That leg could have got pretty smushed. Okay. Yeah, I took the tree with me on the fork. Nice bike. I think we're caught up on a foot peg or something. Just got to be conscious because when that pops, bike's gonna want to go. Okay. Okay. There we go. Finger on the front brake, holding it. All right. Well, that didn't work. We're gonna put ourselves down there and try that option. This is definitely a nasty section. Okay. Get the old levers back into position here. I actually use, you can't see, but I put Teflon tape under my brake and hand guards. So in situations like that, the perch can twist. Okay. So the sweet spot here, generate lots of speed. We're gonna go right along where that big tree is. It's a big deck, or sorry, a big kind of wall that we got to get up over, maybe a foot or so. Just got to get that rear wheel up. I'll know right away when I take off here what kind of traction we're working with. Okay. Oh, falling sucks. Everything just feels bent, twisted. Who knows? Doesn't feel proper. Figure it out when we're not on a hill. Rear wheel's good, it's on the deck. Oh yeah, man, that's crazy. That's super slick. Got no traction. Okay. The brake's too low. That's better. Okay, what's my other option here? There, traction. Alright, maybe a little bit more there. Blew off some of that top leaves and scum. Little confidence, little momentum there. There it is. Yeah, this is that top layer of leaves that had me worried. Dropping here. Just late in the season, all the leaves on the ground. Kind of sketchy because so much stuff hidden. Okay, so we got a log to get over, hard 90, and then straight up to a deck. From there we pivot, and then up along a ridge line. Can't remember if I'm normally in second or first here. We're gonna try it in second this time around. Maybe shift it first once we get up on top of that deck. Gotta be aggressive here. Woo, sorry bike. That was no good. So I ain't gonna be able to push from here. It's too steep. Too steep. Coming down, it's gonna be challenging. So it's really about front brake, leaving the bike in gear. Just kind of pulse that clutch and descend with as much control as you can maintain, okay? Pulse, pulse, pulse. Let it lock back up. Pulse, pulse. Get ourselves down onto the zone. Okay. Another thing I see a lot of guys do is they're here, right? And now they start trying to lift it and yank it around. Basically, as soon as you can get on your bike and use the engine, do the work for you, do that, you know? If there's an option to let the bike do the work, that's what you're gonna wanna do. Okay, that was okay. Got a little cattywampus at the top. Let me give it another go. I think second is the move.